Hello and welcome to the channel. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please do press the bell icon and we'll tell you when we've got more clips coming up. If any of the tips and tricks I give you along the way are helpful, you can always buy me a coffee. And best of all, you can join the club where all my clips go up with no adverts and often a little bit extra. Thanks very much. So today I'm going to talk about Narcissi. I only grow late flowering Narcissi because it is cheaper for me to buy earlier flowering Narcissi in flower delivered by courier from my Cornish neighbours than it is for me to grow them. And so here in this bed, oh, carnage you say, yeah, quite right, are my late flowering Narcissi and my muscari and some lovely little silver scilla called Star of Bethlehem. And an hour ago the bed looked like this. See how tall? Oh yes, you see the height. This is all weed action from last year, because what I do is I take my Narcissi harvest and then I let the weeds grow on through, and they're mostly thistle, quite a lot of feverfew self-seeded in there, nettles, some willow herb, all sorts of pernicious weeds grow up to my height. I'm 5'2", where they flower and provide a vast amount of nectar for wildlife, and then they set seed and provide a great deal of food, particularly for overwintering birds, which is why we have gangs of goldfinches in this garden. This morning I saw a gang of bullfinches working the windfall nettles. Literally a gang. More than one. Loads of little bullfinches in full bright red colour. So what I do, but you say, but where are your Narcissi? Well, let me show you. Right, you can see the mess better now. There's the mess I've yet to rake off, and I'm quietly raking off the mess here. It's a sort of thatch, and it's going into the wheelbarrow and eventually onto the compost heap. Now these are Narcissi, so they don't need fancy pants beds. They will happily grow through the thatch, but it is towards the end of January. We've had a very cold spell, which is why I've not done this before, because it's been too cold. I'm doing it now because it's just mild enough that the frost is melted a tiny bit and I can rake all this thatch off. I will then put a layer of a couple of inches of compost on top, and then my late flowering Narcissi. So these are Narcissi, they won't be flowering before April, and I haven't seen any tips of Narcissi yet as I've been walking over the bed. So they're just frozen in their little beds while I'm clearing up the space, and I will put a nice thick mulch on top, and away they go. After they flower, every year after they flower, I say I'm going to put late flowering annuals where the Narcissi were. I've been saying that for about 11 years, so don't hold your breath. So once I've got the worst of the thatch off, so I've had a little mow, and you can see that where the Narcissi are beginning to sprout, because I set the mower high, I've not taken the tops off. So then I barrow load by barrow load start dressing the patch. It's very simple. And that, by the way, that's 3 barrow loads of Dalefoot Compost Lakeland Gold. And at the end of the day, with quite a lot of other things going on, that's 12 barrow loads, about a third, between a quarter and a half a tonne, so a third of a tonne is that much. I don't have my microphone on, I'm sorry, but I'll show you my sophisticated measuring system nevertheless. each step is a metre. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this bed is about 7 metres by 7 metres. There you go. And so there we have it. It's 7 metres squared-ish, 49 square metres. It's taken about 3/4 of a tonne of Dalefoot Lakeland gold. And the good thing about mulching it like this, so I've just literally scraped off and roughly mown off at quite a height last year's weeds thatch. I've dumped 3/4 of a tonne of compost on top of, I haven't weeded it, I've just dumped the compost on top. And what the compost will do is feed the soil, help aerate the soil because the worms will come out and take it in, but it will also prevent gently, in a not dramatic way, it'll keep back the weeds, which will eventually push through. But I only need this patch while the narcissi are flowering. So the narcissi will flower, and I may or may not, 13 years would say probably not, weed out this patch after the daffs have flowered and the leaves have died down. I could weed it out and put late summer annuals in it. Bet you 300 quid I don't. I bet you I let the weeds grow on through, and what they will do is and it would be the same if I planted late summer annuals to flower here. They will shade out the narcissi bulbs so that the narcs don't dry out. The shade provided by the weeds and or the zinnia flowers will prevent the narcissi from drying out, which is why narcissi like a bit of shade in the summer. So they like light and sunshine. So that's why they work well in orchards, for example, because they can flower before the leaves come out, and then the leaves come out and shade them out and stop them drying out later in the year. 6 of one and half a dozen of another. Anyway, what kind of narcissi do I have in here? Quite a big mix. Cheerfulness. I've got some sort of scented scented sort of bog standard, sort of many-headed, off the top of my head. All I can remember is cheerfulness. And then I've got some nice double daffs, which flower quite late. And I can't remember any of them either. My all-time favourite daffodil narcissi is Thalia. And I have a stretch of Thalia in here. I have a little short, really not great for cutting, but very pretty for little posies and sort of event work, called Milner. Yeah, and that's the sort of thing I've got. It's hopeless, I can never remember the names of anything. But do look at double daffs, they're kind of fun, and they're quite heavy-headed, but they give you a bit of bang for your buck early in the season when you're looking for a kind of heavy head to fill up your bouquets. Anyway, there you go. That, my friends, is how I manage my bulb beds. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you soon.